Okay, let's get it going. It says, example 2, a triangle parcel of land has 235 feet of frontage against a road. I draw excellent roads. I could use some yellow, couldn't I? There we go. Triangle parcel of land up against the road. 235 feet of it up against the road. The other sides are 110 and 165. Question is, what are the angles? What are the angles formed against the frontage? I'll call that angle A. Call this angle B. And I'll call this angle C. So, I don't tell you, oh, let's use the law of sines. I don't say, oh, let's use the law of cosines, or let's use our area formula. Let's solve for C. Trevor needs a packet. So, you tell me, what do we use to solve that kind of a problem? What do we do? Law of sines would be great, except what does the law of sines require that we have? It requires that we have a side and an angle opposite the side, which we do not have. So I can't use the law of sines. What do I have to use instead? What is your indication that you have to use the law of cosines? Side, side, side. Very good. So as you look at your graphic organizer, it says I have side, side, side. Therefore, I will use the law of cosines. Which angle should we solve for first if we're going to use the law of cosines? The one opposite the largest side, so we're going to solve for angle C. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this formula right here. Cosine of C is equal to A squared plus B squared minus C squared over 2AB. Now, I know we didn't do that the other day, but you sure can use that. Has anybody used these on their assignment so far? Oh, it says error. Huh. We must be doing something incorrectly. I will, we'll check that out later, okay? It happened to you too? Well, maybe it's a triangle with no solution. I don't know what's going on. Then we must have made a mistake. Levi, stop making mistakes. Okay, let's try this out. We're going to go right here. I have the cosine of C is equal to A squared, so 165 squared, plus B squared, 110 squared, minus C squared, 235 squared, divided by 2 times 165 times 110. So I'm going to type that all into my calculator. Parentheses 165 squared plus 110 squared minus 235 squared. Parentheses divided by parentheses. 2 times 165 times 110 parentheses. And I get negative 0.3801. You tell me, if the cosine of something is negative, what does that tell us about the angle? Very good, Nathan. It's obtuse. Jalen, I'll come and help you a little bit, but this is what we should have. I worked it out second hour. What's that? Well, you got to have the parentheses. This is what everybody's doing in the other classes. They're dividing by 2, and so they don't have the parentheses on the bottom. So all they're doing is dividing by 2 and then multiplying by 165, then multiplying by 110. So you have to have the parentheses in the denominator. Did you have the parentheses on top? Yes, otherwise it will just take 235 squared and divide it by 2. Come on in, Miss Amy. You could be on YouTube. Say hello, YouTube Nation.
Hey, YouTube Nation.
Let's do mathematics. All right, we'll pause you guys. Here we go. So, yeah, you got to have the parentheses are important because otherwise you'll take on minus 235 squared and divide that by 2, and it won't add the entire top. Yep. Okay, did you do it here? Did you do it right here? Did you follow along with what we just did on your assignment? Okay, something must be wrong. Okay, so anyway, this is the correct. Nathan is correct. He says, Mr. Gens, if it's negative, that means that cosine is negative in the second quadrant. Therefore, the angle is obtuse. And if you go second cosine of second answer, yes, we do get an obtuse angle, 115.98. So, angle C, 115.98 degrees. I decided to solve for C. So I set it up that way. Well, no. Jalen said that we want to solve for C because it's opposite the largest side. Therefore, it will force out the obtuse angle. Okay, so I want to solve for A and B. Those are the angles that are up against the frontage road. How will I solve for A and B? Law of sines. Very good. Use the law of sines. I will say the sine of 115.98 divided by 235 is equal to the sine of B divided by 110. And so we do that. What's that? If the obtuse angle came out, nope. As long as we solve for the largest angle first, then no, it doesn't matter. $24.88. How do I find B? Add those two and subtract from 180. So 180 minus 115.98 minus 24.88, and I get 39.14. There we go. Any questions on that? Yep. It says what angles are formed against the frontage road? Angles of 24.88 and 39.14. Show me a thumbs up. Did you draw your 165 here instead? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yep, you guys are right. Sorry. Sorry about that. You are always right. Which is why I just, instead of making an answer key, I just grab Whitney's test. And I say, we're just going to call that 100%. I mean Fernando's test. Yes, Fernando. Okay, so this next problem is the problem that people get wrong on their test. Okay, so this is where people make mistakes. So if you want to see something that's going to challenge you, this would be the piece. You cannot simply just follow along like, oh, Mr. Gens, I see what you're talking about. I'm going to write it down. You have to ingest this into your brain. And if you don't, you probably won't get it right on the test. So I'll just keep it plain and simple like that. It says the southernmost boundary of a four-sided piece of land is a river. So I have a river right here. Notice the word river. Part of the side is straight, the other is not. I will draw a little fish. Here are my fishies. Okay, they're swimming in the river. And the boundary lines are 285 feet, 564 feet, and 322 feet. And there are angles, northernmost angle is 98 degrees and 105 degrees. It says, what is the area of the piece of land? Well, this should appear challenging to you because, as you look at this, we don't have a formula for this, do we? What shape is it? Not a trapezoid. Trapezoid has bases that are parallel. They are not parallel. It's a quadrilateral. It's simply a four-sided figure. That's all it is. That is the word that my daughter's having a tough time saying. That's what we're working on right now. She wants to learn the shape. So this is one shape that she would try to characterize, saying, okay, top and bottom are not parallel. We don't have a nice, easy formula for it. It's simply a quadrilateral. And so I'm going to struggle here. It says find the area. Any ideas if we do not have? Macy Paul. Yes, Macy Paul. She says split it in half. Would you like to split it from the 98 down or the 105 down? Okay, so we will do what Macy says. Macy's in my advisory. And she's bringing me food tomorrow. So, we'll split it in half. Great. What did that do for me, if anything at all? Made two triangles. Do we know how to find the area of a triangle? Yes, we learned that the area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 AB sine of C. It's right there on your sheet. Or 1/2 times the two sides times the sine of the included angle. So, if you look here, we have two sides and an included angle, correct? So I could find the area of that triangle, right? I will call it triangle 1. Triangle 1. And we'll call this other one triangle 2. The area of triangle 1 would be equal to, you can pick any formula you want. So at this point, a lot of people, they want to say, well, Mr. Gens, what's A, what's B, what's C? And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. The formula says 1/2 times two sides times the sine of the included angle. That's the idea. And this is what we have, two sides and the included angle. So I set it up, 1/2 times 564 times 322 times the sine of 105 degrees. What you got there, pallies? Somebody give me a number. Should be like 87,000 or something like that. 87709.93 feet squared. We're halfway there. We've got the first area. Was that difficult? No, that was not difficult. All right, we're halfway there, as in the words of Bon Jovi. Name the album. You can't. All right, I can. Very good. Third track. All right. All right, how about this? Now what I want is I got to find what? What am I going to do next? I need to find the area of this triangle. What do I do to find the area of that triangle? Okay, so Nathan and Alex both see. In order to find the area of the second triangle, I must find this side. Because in order to find this side, or in order to find the area, I have to know this side, and then that angle, which we don't know either. So I'm going to call this side here X. I'm going to call this angle y, and I'm going to call this angle z. No, we know that they sum to 98. We don't know if it's divided in half. In fact, we're pretty sure by the drawing that it's not divided in half. So we got to go through some work there. So, Nathan, since you suggested that we find x, how would you go about finding it? Do I use the law of sines or the law of cosines? Law of cosines, why? Side, angle, side. And if you look at your sheet, the law of sines only works if we have a side and an angle opposite that side. Here, if you have side, angle, side, it says one solution. Use the law of cosines. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go to work. Yeah, we're working with triangle 1 to find x. So, as we set it up here, we will have the law of cosine says that x squared will be equal to 564 squared plus 322 squared minus 2 times 564 because that's the work I'm doing to find x. What? So you're asking, should I choose a squared, b squared, or c squared? Yeah, it does matter. As you can see, I didn't use a, b, or c. Here's what it does. Side, side, included angle. Gives you the opposite side. So I said my opposite side is x. So that will be the angle. And then these other two are the included sides. So, Levi, if you don't see where this is coming from right now, how I'm getting this formula set up, here's what you should do then. You would need to go up to your triangle, and you would need to say, this is going to be angle A, this is going to be angle B, and this is going to be angle C. And you can name it however you want. So then that would make this side C. But it doesn't matter. They're really all the same formulas. They really are. I'm just using the side opposite that angle. Okay. So as I set it up, here's what I get as we solve for it. We have 564 squared plus 322 squared minus 2 times 564 times 322 times the cosine of 105. And I get 515,787.22, and I take the square root of my answer to get 718.18. So x equals 718.18. I put that right here. We are almost done. If you got a negative answer, you did something incorrectly and I can come help you. But the answer should be 718.18. As you look at the rest of your angles or sides, does that make sense that you should have about 700? Sure does. So, can we find y? Not yet. First, we must find z, and then we could just subtract it from 98. So let's work on finding z right now. How would you find z? Law of sines. We now have an angle and its opposite side. I could do the sine of 105 over 718.18 equals the sine of z over 322. And that will allow me to find z. So I have the sine of 105 divided by 718.18 is equal to the sine of z divided by 322. And when you do that, you get angle z is equal to, what you got, Sam? Or you didn't do it? Who did it? 25.66. So that would make y equal to what? 25.66. And what'd you have for y, Macy? 72.34. So those are our angles. Do we now have enough information to find the area of the second triangle? Yes, I do have enough information to find the area of the second triangle. What I do is I take 1/2. So area equals 1/2 times the two sides, 718.18 times, what's our other side? 285. Times the sine of the included angle. And the included angle is 72.34 degrees. And when you do that, you get like 90,000 something. What do you guys got? Somebody give me some digits here. 97,000 what? 517.69. So that's the area of triangle 2. And so what do I do to find the area of the whole entire space? I would take these two, I add them together to get 185,226 feet squared. So I really like those problems, and you're going to have one on your test. And the reason why I like those problems is you have to use the law of sines, you have to use the law of cosines, you have to use the area formula, you have to solve for some missing pieces, you got to use some geometry, and it's a worthwhile problem as well. As a land surveyor, we could shoot 4 different points and then calculate the area between it immediately using software on the computer. And so that's what happens. So here is your assignment. It's not long. I want you to do these two problems. There aren't any in your book that are set up like what we just did. But other books do have them. I like those problems, so we're going to do them. So problem 1 and problem 2, and then you got 27 and 28. So 2 problems on the board, and then 519, 27, 28. The answer for number 1 should be 209.62. I don't know if the class got an answer for number 2 yet, but you guys should be able to get some work done here, and you should probably be able to get those first 2 problems. So good luck.